Camp attention, Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
All righty, welcome everyone. We got another great show coming your way. We are in the process of going through a tropical depression here in lovely sunny Florida. So I'm in my storage room, as I call it. It's the living room. And we are in the process of buttoning down the hatches and we're preparing for a lot of rain. And that's typical for Central Florida. But I trust weather is so much better where you are. That's a good thing. And I want to make sure that you're aware that I'm not in the normal studio that I normally have. It's that was actually my, I guess it's my den lair, my man cave sort of thing. And we're doing some rearranging and construction, and we have to deal with being moved to a smaller space for a brief amount of time. So hopefully by the end of August, we will have our space again, and everything will be back the way it was, and we'll be starting into season 11. I do have an episode coming up rather soon that's going to be talking about taking life lessons like this and using that in scouting, being that example for young people on how to overcome adversity. Now, I'm not alone today. We have Mike. Mike is on, and Mike.
Yes, I am.
He's helping me out in the chat room because I'm doing all the other thingies on this side. He's doing the hard part. So if you have a question, we'd love to answer it. So please let us know. I think we have a ticker. Did I put that on right? There we go. That says, please let us know where you are. If you can hear us, give us a thumbs up. That always helps. That thumbs up helps with the algorithm here on YouTube. And I did some changes today. I did some technical stuff, and I don't know if it's working. So if you're on Discord, on the ScouterStan Discord thing, you are probably seeing this live. That's all been connected, and hopefully it's working just fine. If not, just hit the button. Usually it's not an auto play, especially with this, with Discord, you have so many things going on. You got to hit the button. So, but if you're on there, let us know. If you have questions, Mike will read them off to me, and hopefully I will just know the answer.
All right.
Maybe.
Shall we get to our first question?
Sure.
All right. Well, first we have a new member to the channel. Hawk20 is a new member to the channel.
Welcome.
And I believe he also said that he's just coming back to scouting after 30 years.
Wow.
He's very excited.
That is really cool. Now, the follow-up question to that, was it the Cub Scouts? Did they recruit him back into it? That's kind of what happened with me. If you're not familiar with the story of how I got back into scouting, my son dragged me off to a school event, and turned out it was a Cub Scout recruiting event. And that's where I got back into it. And it was really simple. The presenter said, "Are there any Eagle Scouts here?" And my son jumped up and he says, whoa, son, you're just joining Cub Scouts. You're not an Eagle Scout." And he says, "No, I'm not an Eagle Scout, but my dad is." And that's how I ended up being Cub Master. So that's how I got dragged back into it all. And but it was the best thing that ever happened. I really enjoy scouting and all those events, and being after, I think it was almost 20 years. So he's got me beat at 30. So that's good. And definitely get into it. It's fun. It is a lot of fun. It could be grandchildren. It could be, it could be anything. So that could get you back into that. But as a leader, you never have to leave. And that's the wonderful thing about scouting. And you can do so many different things. There's a lot of leadership opportunities for parents and grandparents even to get involved in. So that's so important. And a lot of people don't know that grandparents can actually participate too. They do have to go through all the training and stuff like that, but they can be a part of this. And that's a huge thing. So let's see. I think there was another.
Right.
Was there another one?
I think there was only one member.
Okay.
One
All right.
member.
We do have 14 in the room. So it's summer. Summer is the time of year that a lot of scouts and scouters take off and they go camping. They go to summer camp. I think NOAC, that's the National Order of the Arrow Conference, NOAC, just finished up in Boulder, Colorado. So a lot of people are coming back from that. And it's amazing, all of the different things that are going on within Scouting America. That's the new name, the new brand that we're using. But that is the thing about scouting. It is a movement. It's meant to change. It's meant to change some of its outer core things. Now, as far as core values, those should always remain the same. So that's the nice thing about scouting. It's core values haven't changed in 100 years. So it is important that those stay the same. And of course, different brand names and trademarks and stuff. I mean, I've seen Scouts BSA for a long time. I have seen just BSA. Scouts, I think it was Scout America was big because they took the word boy off the shirt. So for a long time, the embroiderers just put Scouts America. So there's different things that they would do for the brand name. And but the new one, Scouting America, is the newest, latest trademark. Look at it that way. But it's the same old Scouts that we've loved and known for well over 100 years plus. So that is the nice thing. The core values of the Scout Oath and Scout Law remain the same. So that's one thing that'll always be there. Think I did see, let me look here. Comments. See one that just popped up.
Okay, well, we have our new member, Hawk in the Outdoors, is greeting us from Alaska.
Awesome. Alaska. Golly. I've only been to Boulder, Alaska. As a young person, I was there. But that is a wonderful, it's beautiful, absolutely a beautiful place. And it's huge, gigantic. I don't think many people think of that. Alaska is enormous. If you were to put it on the continental United States, it would go from the 48 parallel all the way down. I mean, it would cover up most of the United States. It is a huge, huge state. So.
Well, and we have Pin King 554, one of our frequent live program viewers.
Yeah.
Says, I caught the NOAC crud. Okay, not feeling well. Had to call out my first day back to work after 2 weeks.
That's awesome. NOAC is fun. If you're in the Order of the Arrow, I was actually tapped to do the contingent leader for my local council 1 year. I think it was 2012 was when I went, and it was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed doing that. And of course, the following one in 2015, we had to I had to be the assistant and teach him what I knew. Yeah, it was kind of the way that they work it, and then so on. But I did 2 of them, and they were a lot of fun. Great opportunities for patches. I'm telling you, they have patches that are absolutely gorgeous, amazing. They use every thread count they possibly can. That's the one thing about NOAC and patch trading. Not only that, but they also have a lot of classes too. So I've been told. So they have a great time. They have productions every day, and they do a lot of fun things.
All right. Well, we have, I guess, a wave or a clap from
There we go.
Asked for Scott. Okay.
And a wave.
Hello, Mr. Stan from Aaron Finley.
Hey, Aaron Finley. I tell you, it's amazing. People run through the scout meetings that out of Lenoche going, oh, it's ScouterStan. I'm like, me? No. But
Well,
yeah.
They say you're not crazy if you talk to the television, but if the television talks back, maybe you are crazy. And
It's so true.
Since the television is talking back to me, maybe I'm crazy. Okay.
That's true.
Okay, we have AHW Productions saying, I'm a member of the Order of the Arrow.
Awesome. And that membership to the Order of the Arrow is permanent. You're always a member. It's just whether are you a dues paying member? That's the next question. Check with your lodge and make sure that you stay a dues paid member. That's important. It helps pay for all of the wonderful things that they do for the community. So definitely your membership does go a long way.
And another one from Aaron Finley, joining us from Fort Scott, Kansas. Troop 114 in the Ozark Council.
Fantastic. 114. Woohoo. Got one for 114.
And AHW Productions have a question. I am new to Order of the Arrow, new Ordeal member. What am I allowed to talk about, and who am I allowed to talk about with it?
Well, when you're dealing with the Order of the Arrow, we try to keep the traditions and all of that stuff that the ordeal is about kind of as a surprise. So we don't want people going out and just putting out videos about all of it and really just talking about it with non-members, because it's a spoiler. It spoils the surprise of all of the process of becoming an ordeal member. Now, we have some videos on the channel, and I keep it kind of vague for several reasons. I don't want to spoil it for somebody who's looking forward to going through an ordeal with the Order of the Arrow. That I don't want to spoil. So a lot of times, if you're with youth that are in the Order of the Arrow, of course, you could talk about that. In scouting, there's nothing that's a secret. So your parents I can go in with the books and actually read them the ceremonies. They could read them themselves. They can actually go and do and see these things. There's nothing secret in the Order of the Arrow. It's not a secret organization. Nothing in scouting is secret. So that being said, we just don't want to spoil it for those who are looking forward to going through the ordeal. We want to make sure that they experience it in the right order so that they can pay attention to what's in front of what they're going through as far as the ordeal. That's the key. We want them to learn those things and to have that become part of what they are understanding from the ordeal. If you tell them all about it, you tell them what they're getting for Christmas, you spoiled it all. So it's you want to keep that from new members that are looking forward to going through that ordeal experience. You want that to be special. Okay. Everybody else, you can definitely talk about it. Your parents have questions, they can ask any adult leader, and they will tell them everything, and they will show them videos, and they will disclose everything. Okay, that's totally okay, but it's not okay if people are looking forward to this and you spoil it. Okay, so that's the key. That's the wonderful thing about the Order of the Arrow. It is special. It is, and it should be an experience. You only get to do the ordeal once. That's it. You never do it again. It's once. It's one and done. And that is, you don't want to spoil it. You want to make it special. You want to make it meaningful in every way you can. So that's why they tell you not to really disclose a lot of that information to non-ordeal members. So, there's procedures and there's things that go on. There's different characters that come through in the ordeal, and those are special, and they should be delivered in the right order.
All right, well put. We have a text from Grantham Garage. Hi, all from Southwest Louisiana, Troop 124.
124. Woohoo! Louisiana. Beautiful place.
And HW, I'm actually new to the channel. Welcome.
Awesome. Welcome to the channel. We do have a lot of videos. We definitely have a lot of videos. Well over 250, I think, that we have. Of course, YouTube counts everything that's been posted. So, and that includes all the shorts. So,
including shorts, it's what, more like 800? That's...
Exactly. I only count the ones, if you really want to, I have an anthology playlist. If you really want to see them all. Believe me, the first 2 seasons are a little cringy. I'm learning YouTube. So it's a little cringy, but I think we're going to reduce some of those videos. So the core videos, the scripts of those videos is really good. And with a few tweaks, I think we can make them even better. So we might be exploring redoing a few just to kind of update. We won't go back and put them in as that season. We'll put them as the current season. So I think that's something that's going on. And season 11 is what's coming up. And we have some great things happening for season 11. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, super. Hawk in the Outdoors on my way to Eielson by Fairbanks. That's up in Alaska. Love to be up here.
It is. It's nice up there right now. I know that during the end of July and beginning of August, it's beautiful. But it will be getting cold shortly. It's like Florida. Florida's just the opposite. We have winter camp, okay, where people come down. It's between Christmas and New Year's. They open up the local camp because it's beautiful that time of year. It's in the 70s during the day, little or no humidity, no bugs. It's great. Okay, that is wonderful, and being in Central Florida, there's a lot of other entertainment all over Florida that come to the central part. So definitely worth a vacation, especially that time of year. But up in Alaska, it's going to get cold.
As I've said before, as a Minnesota family, winter camping in Central Florida seems very appealing. Yeah, we have just flashed up. We have a viewer from Wisconsin.
Awesome. I did my ordeal. Speaking of the Order of the Arrow, I did my ordeal at Makajawan, which is in Wisconsin. So that's where I did my ordeal. Good old Makajawan.
All right. We have from JB Games. Hey, ScouterStan, I have a question. Just crossed over from the pack to the troop. Congratulations.
Fantastic.
And I was wondering what I should or shouldn't do when referring to rank advancement.
Should and shouldn't do. There's a major difference between Cub Scouts and Scouts BSA. The major difference between them is Cub Scouts is completely scripted. Everything is played out. The parent is involved, and they have a lot of their rank advancement is done in a very logical way, and it's done within the year, their school year. So that's the way Cub Scouts work. The big difference is when they go into a troop is up to the scouts. The scouts are actually leading the troop. The senior patrol leader is in charge of that troop, and they develop their own schedule and they get it approved through the committee. And then the scout leaders, like the scoutmaster and the assistant scoutmasters, they're there to support and network and make sure that the network part of it is where the patrol method is being used, so that the patrol leaders are actually running their patrol and they're reporting to the senior patrol leader. So there's two different worlds. I'll tell you one thing. Scouts BSA is wonderful. If you're going from Cub Scouts, where it's very adult and parent oriented, and then you get into the Scouts BSA and a troop, it's a day and night difference. It is a real big change. And a lot of times the old behavior of scout leaders in Cub Scouts, especially, they want to be there with that advancement. They always want to be beating the drum of advancement. It's kind of up to the scout to do those types of advancements. So we want them to take ownership of that and to really work on their own pace. And not all of them work at the same pace. Now, technically, you want to get that scout within the year or year and a half to first class. That's usually in the book. All of that is scout skills. Those are needed. Those scout skills in getting to first class are needed so that Star, Life, and Eagle are easier to accomplish, if that's the scout's goal. All scouts, their goal in a troop is to get to first class. Beyond that, it's up to the scout. And it's not up to the leaders. It's not up to mom and dad. It's up to the scout to make those decisions. That's when merit badges start coming in. That's when leadership responsibilities start pouring in. That's the key. So that's it in a nutshell as far as the difference between Cub Scout leadership when you cross over into a troop, or Scouts BSA. When you go to that, it's a different world as far as advancement. So, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with stepping back and watching what the other adult scout leaders are doing. That's totally fine. Most troops that are sizable will actually have some of the assistant scoutmasters mentor other brand new ones and have them go through that process. So that's something, that's another thing completely.
And I think I've heard you say in the past that after first class, that's when you need the merit badges to continue advancing, but there's nothing to say that a scout can't start into merit badges as soon as they start into Scouts BSA, and that can be a great thing to build excitement for the scouts. So
exactly, because the merit badges are a lot of fun. They are a lot of fun, especially if you're at camp and you want to do rifle or shotgun. If you're old enough to do that, that's something that is fun. Shooting sports, archery, all those merit badges. They don't have to wait until their first class. They can do that their first time at camp. They can go to camp and be in that safe environment where they can do some really fun things, climbing, all the different things. There's crafts. There's tons of different merit badges that teach skills. And I often think that it's a good idea to start that merit badge process early. You'd be amazed how many Star Scouts don't know the process of how to start that blue card and to get that going. That always amazes me how they just don't know. They've always relied on summer camp to fill out all that paperwork and do all the stuff with the counselor. So that is important. Those are life lessons on how to get those skills and how to participate in merit badges. But yeah, you're right. They do not have to be first class in order to do a merit badge. They can do merit badges their first year at summer camp.
I know a number of adults in scouting that feel that scouts shouldn't do merit badges until they reach first class, but that's not what the policy says.
That's right. That's right. The policy actually states that they can do merit badges as soon as they join the troop. They can start at that time. But there's 1 day merit badges, fingerprinting, chess. There's a lot of 1 day things that would get them familiar with the process of filling out the blue card and meeting with the scoutmaster and actually doing a merit badge.
And some of these merit badges can be really a great way to get new scouts involved and seeing the fun. So we have a wonderful backlog of questions here. I better get into some of them. So Hillary says, howdy y'all. I remember Hillary is a frequent viewer.
Yeah. Awesome, Hillary. Thank you.
And Andrew asks, hi ScouterStan. I recently found your channel. I have been in scouting for all my life, but now I'm an adult den leader in my son's pack. That's something you can identify with.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing we really need help with is recruiting. Well, recruiting is so important.
Oh, yeah. Recruiting should be done year round. There's no recruiting season. Okay. Let's eliminate that idea. Recruiting can be done all year round, and it's critical, especially in Cub Scouts. You have to get the parents to step up. They don't have to be the den leader. They could be the assistant den leader. They could be the associate den leader. They could be some of the other thing, the transport help, the organizer, the counselor, whatever. That is something that they can do to kind of step up and help out as far as the actual pack. And that needs to be done year round. They need to definitely step up for the pack, for their youth, and get that leadership going. That's the critical thing about Cub Masters or den leaders rather, and Cub Masters need to be supporting that too. So that's what I was thinking of. But that is critical to do year round. They need to be recruiting and be ready to take on new leaders all year round. And that's important. You got to get your pack set up with a flyer of all the basic details. You need to make sure that the pack has a welcome aboard kind of folder for all the things that are going to go on during the year, a calendar, who to contact, where the training is, and blah, blah, blah. And it just goes on and on. Don't overwhelm them if you can, but you got to have the information available. So that's the important bit.
All right. Looks like Pin King 554 came back from NOAC and added to his patch collection. Congratulations on that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Two quart bags of patches.
That is amazing. I tell you, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun collecting. There's a lot of different patches out there to collect, and the colors they use. Oh my gosh. Some of these manufacturers of the patches, they give you 12 colors. You would be amazed how many use 3. Ew. Not in the OA. They use every color. So, but,
yeah. All right. So we have a follow-up question from Andrew S. We are a small pack in Long Island, New York, and we're not getting new youth and even lost a couple of boys. Do you have any tips, tricks, and suggestions?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if this is where he could contact his commissioner.
Yes, definitely. Getting with your commissioner is a critical thing. They will help you as far as recruiting year round. And, a lot of places are stuck with the school schedule, and that's not necessarily the best. You can go and do recruitment year round, all year round, and bring in new scouts. You can have different scouts in different months do that type of recruiting. In fact, there's some videos on our channel about recruiting year round. That's something that we've done in the past, and we've actually made goals for each month for a pack or a troop or a crew. Those are things that they need to be doing. And I think scouting is poised. It's just on that edge where it's going to have a resurgence. We've gone through a lot of problems and we've worked them out. And we've gotten to the point now where I think adults are saying we need something to help our youth become leaders. And that's where scouting comes in. And that is the critical thing. There are thousands, if not millions, of youth that never have the chance to join a pack or a troop or a crew. It is so sad. And we need to stop putting up those barriers. We need to open the doors and say, come on in. This is fun. Join scouting, learn. There's great things that are in scouting. And that's something we just need to do. Don't put any barriers in between, like, oh, it's outside of the recruitment time. No, recruitment is year round, all the time. If you want to join scouting, let's do it. Let's do it right now. In fact, it's set up that way. There used to be the old chartered system. Now it's individually done. So when you do your membership, that's for a full 365 days. It's a full year that you get from that membership. It just happens to be with that unit. So from national standpoint, that's the circle. So you can join scouting anytime. There, way back in the recruiting season, back when they used to do that, they would prorate the months out to the end of the year. No, not anymore. It's a full year. And that way they are in scouting for that year. Then there's a lot more to that. But as far as recruiting, you got to keep doing it. Get with your commissioner. Your unit commissioner can help you establish actual plan that you can enact with all of your leaders and just recruit. Keep the doors open. That's the key.
Okay, Tartan Scout, hi from Scotland. What is it? It must be 2:30 in the morning in Scotland? Thanks for staying up to listen to us.
Oh my gosh. I think I know of a crew that's in Scotland, here in Central Florida. They're actually in Scotland. They go there and they have the best time. It's like 10 days or something they spend in Scotland, and then they travel and they go all over the place, and they go down to London and things like that, and they do all kinds of activities throughout the Great Britain area, and they always come back in kilts. The scout uniform allows for that. The kilt is been around for a long time, and since the McLaren donated the land for Gilwell, which is big in Woodbadge, you can wear a kilt. That's a thing in scouting. So yeah, I do not have a kilt. I'd love to have a kilt, but I don't know if they make that much material.
Okay, Cameron has a question. How old must a scout be to drive to campouts, meetings, summer camp, etc.?
That's that I believe is it depends. If they are themselves driving by themselves, there's no issue. Their insurance should cover themselves and their family car and so on. But if they have anybody else in the car, that's when it becomes a problem. I believe that the scouting, the safety requirements, believe that it's 20, I think it's 25. They have to be of age for the insurance. It's an insurance issue. So as far as if they're just transporting themselves, there shouldn't be an issue. But if anybody else is in the car, another leader or other youth, there's issues as far as the insurance. So I think it's the last thing I read, it was 25. It might have moved it back to 21. I'm not really sure. But it's an insurance issue. That's really where that comes through. It's an insurance issue. So
I seem to recall something from training that a lot of camps, if a scout drives himself to camp, they may want you to, okay, come to camp and then park. Don't be driving around and just come to camp. Then when you leave, you leave.
Right. And transporting back and forth, it's totally fine. But it's when you have others in the car that it becomes an issue.
Okay. AHW is part of the Samoset Council in northern Wisconsin. And half of our troop just came back from Camp Tasomas. So I heard it was very beautiful.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome. Summer camp, that's still going on right now. Back in my day, summer camp literally was, I don't know if you're familiar with the play Brigadoon, but it basically was, it would appear, put together, and then it was all put into a barn. Up north, they still do that. Down here in the South, they don't. They leave all the tents up. They leave them up year round. They have events all year round. But up north, because of the weather, it was basically put up the tents, and that was 2 weeks of staff camp, putting everything together so that they can have a summer camp. They run it for about 4 or 5 weeks, and then it all went back in the barn. So literally all the tents, all the platforms, all the rope, everything. So that was kind of the thing with camp. And that's fine. I think that down here in the deep South, as far as the from Central Florida, say down, we're in the process of acknowledging that jungle camping is difficult, especially during the summer. You're dealing with really, really humid weather, really hot nights, very uncomfortable to sleep in. So with that, they're finally starting to listen, and they're building barracks that they can actually sleep the scouts in. And it's not, it's cooler than it is outside. Okay. But it's just a little bit easier to deal with, as far as temperature. So jungle camping can be challenging, very challenging. It is hot.
Stan, does that count as nights of camping for the camping merit badge if they're in a barracks, or do they need to be in a tent? Okay.
Well, it's at camp. It's at camp. Sure. Anything, if you're in a shelter or what do they call those things? Adirondacks that are only 3 walls. That's camping. There's different styles of cabins. A lot of the cabins we have now at Lenoche are screened in, mainly because if you don't, your scouts will go missing because they'll be picked up by the mosquitoes and carried off and turned into prunes. So.
Yeah, we have those mosquitoes in Minnesota too. Maybe exactly. Not so much Florida.
Yeah, if you're in Maine, it's black fly. It's all kinds of bugs.
So I turned off the banner, but hey, if you haven't already given us a thumbs up, please give us a thumbs up. So here's a question I don't think anyone has asked lately. What was your Eagle Scout project, Stan?
Oh, my Eagle project. I often do Eagle boards of review and ask that question constantly and make sure that they practice a 1-minute presentation on their project, because that does come up. And my 1-minute project is maybe more than one. Anyways, I was living in Chicago and the Chicago North Woods of Chicago had a problem with mice being, they would breed in the woods and then run down the streets into Chicago. And they had a problem with that. So they worked out a deal with the school where they would create 4 acres of land that would become the largest mousetrap in the world. And in that mousetrap was Massasauga rattlesnakes. They're little tiny things. They're only about, long. And these little tiny rattlesnakes would eat 2 or 3 mice a month. So it was a good way to get rid of them. So you put thousands of these snakes on an island with a moat around it. Now, my Eagle project was just to clear the woods. That was my project. And I basically tore out all these trees and stuff. Our crew would go out on a weekend and we cleared the area, making it from woods into prairie. That's really what we were trying to do for the indigenous snake that needed it. And the school came along and put in the moat, and then they put in these ramps that were one way. They had little flaps on them. The mouse could run into it, but couldn't get back out. So it was a one-way trip for the mice, and it definitely kept the mice in check. For the longest time, I could see it on Google Earth. I could go online and see this little 4 acres plot of land, but they have since gotten rid of it. I think there's condos or something there now, but that was my Eagle project, helping to build the largest mousetrap. So,
all right. We have Jacob says hello from England.
Hey, Jacob. Oh, my goodness. From across the pond. Mark.
Yeah. Big
Mark.
Man in the woods. Yes.
Yeah, Mark.
I don't know if he watches live show. He probably needs to
go
to work
like
in a few hours from now.
There.
So
it's really early.
Okay, and JB Games says, I'm from Minnesota, Northern Lights Council, Troop 305 in Fergus Falls.
Awesome.
Okay, perhaps you may have gone to Camp Wilderness. Our troop went there a couple times in previous years.
Yeah.
Great place.
Yes.
Great food.
Yes. There's some really good camps out there that have the food. I liked it, but many of I don't know about young people today. If it's not a candy bar, most people like, those oldies that we like things like, fresh vegetables and salad and, a tomato, not cooked, not turned into ketchup on French fries. These are the things we like. So it varies.
I know some people that very much enjoy cooking as a troop while at summer camp, and other people that suggest, hey, it's better to get the meal plan so you can focus on the merit badge activities. Do you have a viewpoint on that?
Oh yeah, I would agree. It definitely makes it easier to focus on the merit badges, to focus on those things. Just eat and go. There's as far as the summer camp experience, there's something to be said with how different approaches. I was at a summer camp, I think it was Skymont, it was up north, and they do waiters. They have waiters come in and set the table and actually set it up. So it's a real meal type situation. They put the silverware there and they bring the food, and the food is handed from scout to scout, just like a family type of thing. A lot of places, Daniel Boone, I think it's Woodruff does this. It's a cafeteria. It's all put on a platter and you go and sit down. It's a little bit different. So there's a little bit to be said with that old school waiter type of thing, where they're actually dismissed from flags to go and do the waiter duties to make sure that the drinks are on the table and so on. So there's a little bit there. That's my old school coming through. That was my memory. When I'm at Lenoche, the the schedule is kind of tight. Sometimes they may have 3 different meal times for like every single meal. The morning meal, they'll have A, B, and C that come in, and they're staggered so that they're not overwhelming the facility all at once. There's a lot of pros and cons as far as eating and go, but it varies, and it depends a lot on the camp. And I think people get used to a certain style, and that seems to be the thing. The thing I've been trying to get my local council to consider is to have actually 2 different menus. Have one menu that's oriented towards youth in proportion and in the food that they like, and another menu where it's proportioned for adults. So, and it's stuff that adults like. You'll find it if you put a raw tomato in front of most of the youth, they will first, after they get over the shock of this red gooey thing on their plate, most of the adults have the fork and they're ready to eat. So it's one of those things. And it really, you can't feed the adults the same type of menu that you're feeding the youth, and the youth are getting the same proportion as the adults. And these I've seen 300-pound muscle-bound adults get a portion that couldn't keep an 80-pound youth alive. And they just sort of look at the guy serving them, and they're like, "This is it." So, it has to be proportional, and camps can do this. They can do this. They can have 2 separate lines. They can have different staggered things. They can do that. And a lot of times that makes it or breaks it with a lot of camps. If they don't like how they're doing it with like a waiter system, if they don't like that, they may not go to that camp. Or if they do like that waiter system, they might encourage them so it becomes a benefit to that camp. So it really varies. It really, really varies.
So we have our next question, looking for ideas for scout appropriate pranks to play on the senior patrol leader.
Pranks on the senior patrol leader. Well, pranks are, we have to consider one very important thing. Is the prank within the Scout Oath and Law? That's the thing. You have to think about that. You are bringing some questions to, being friendly. The friendly can be having fun, but not at the cost of someone. Courteous. Is it courteous to pull a prank on the senior patrol leader? Don't they have enough to running the troop, especially with scouts that are thinking about doing a prank on them? So think about that. If you consider, if you think about the prank and how it works out, is it within the Scout Law and Oath? One of the big things in the Scout Oath is to help others. Is that helpful? Ask yourself. That's what you have to do. Mm-hmm. And others includes your SPO. So something to think about.
All right. Another comment. Timothy says, "Hello, everyone." Okay. Not sure where he's joining us from, but next comment. Pink King 554. My troop has custom neckerchiefs where new scouts and adults start out blank. When either the scout gets to first class or the adult gets trained in their position, they get the troop's iron-on emblem for the neckerchief.
Wow.
Very nice.
Wow, that is really cool. That is super neat. There's a lot of traditions that troops do that are just so unique that I've seen ceremonies where they do that, the neckerchief. There is a troop in Orlando that has a double-sided neckerchief. One side is when you first start. It's like red or something. And that's good for the adults to know that particular scout just joined or is still in the first year emphasis patrol and should be, kind of watched after to make sure there's no bullying or any of the, bad things going on. So they know because of the neckerchief. Then after they get to first class, they actually fold the thing a different direction. It's a full square. They fold it a different direction and it's a different color. So I think it's blue. So it's really cool. It's got the logo on both sides. So it's kind of neat. I thought that was kind of neat.
Hillary has a really well formulated comment here. The scouting.org national website does have very specific info on driving ages, and it might be in the Guide to Safe Scouting as I think about it. And there are distinctions between driving during scouting events versus driving to or from scouting events. Right. And there were some other comments about driving. I didn't put them up because I'm not able to fact check them live right now. But hey, always going back to the Guide to Safe Scouting, I think is you can never go wrong.
That's true. That's true. Always check the Guide to Safe Scouting. That will help. Drive wise, or I think there used to be a name for it, and I can't think of it right off the top of my head, but it was a check sheet. And typically a scout can drive themselves and other family members if they're in the family anywhere. It's just like any other driver's license. You can go anywhere you want. But the minute you put somebody that's another scouter in there and they're going to a scout event, that's when these rules kick in. Okay. So let me make myself perfectly clear about that. If the individual is driving, it could be their car or their parents' car or something like that, and they have a license and they're insured and it's totally legal for them to be on the open road, there's nothing that prevents them from going there, because technically they go there and the minute they step out of the car, they're in scouting. Okay. Yep. Think of it that way. That's it, and their insurance covers it. It's when you stick somebody else in the car, you put another leader in there, you put another youth in there. Then it becomes the issue. And if you're putting another adult in there, have them drive. It's easier, than having the youth actually doing the driving. So that could be problematic as far as insurance. So.
Yeah, I think there's also an adult training video on my.scouting.org.
Yeah,
on driving.
That is a good rate. What is it? The zone? Was it the driving zone? Do they have a time zone for driving? Yeah, I think that's the piece of paper I remember seeing.
Okay, Alex has a question. What should an arrow of light den leader be working on once the cubs transfer to a pack and are waiting for the Webelos to transition to arrow of light?
So this is a arrow of light leader? Is that what you're saying? Let me look at the question.
Let me read that again.
Okay.
What should an arrow of light den leader be working on once the cubs transfer to the pack and waiting for the Webelos to transition to arrow of light?
Oh, so what does the den leader for the arrow of lights do? That's that,
I think they're saying when the cubs transfer to the troop and is waiting for a new batch of Webelos.
Oh, okay. So you're waiting for the new batch. It's totally fine for the, and then this might be true for all of the different ranks in a Cub Scout, is the den leader visits or participates with the den so that those Cub Scouts get to know that new den leader. So that would be fine for the arrow of light den leader to definitely go over to the Webelos and help out. So that would be great, because then you've got two leaders in there, and then when they graduate out of the Webelos and go into the arrow of light, then that den leader will know them. So that's the key. Once they cross over from arrow of light into a troop, they're in the troop. So the den leader can cross over, or they can help out with the Weeblos. So that would be the short answer there. Work with your Cub Master. See what they have to think. Maybe they need help with another den. There's no reason not to be participant in the pack. There could be things where you might want to check with the committee chair, see if there's something you can do there. But I think the ideal of going to the Weeblos den would be the primary. Go there, get to know those scouts, those Cub Scouts, so that when they become part of your den, you know them.
Okay, so I'm going to combine two questions. We have a lovely backlog of questions. Hey, ScouterStan, our lodge is now deciding what our regalia should look like for Order of the Arrow. So what are some ideas for the regalia? And another question we had is where to find costume items for Order of the Arrow activities.
Typically in the past, the Order of the Arrow has been very Native American oriented to the different areas. So if you're, say, for instance, you're in Central Florida, the Seminole tribes can be consulted as far as regalia, what they should wear. I believe there is a drive throughout the nation to maybe not do regalia for the different areas. There might be there's different factions that are actually discussing it and talking about streamlining one type of regalia. That's something they've been talking about that for 20 years. So, but this is something that locally you might be able to contact Native American tribes in your area and find out what they have. If there's somebody there that can help them stay traditional and respectful to those customs. Now that's big. And if you're going to do Order of the Arrow is the senior scouts per se. It's the elite scouts that have received first class. They have done the camping requirement. They went through their ordeal. These are senior scouts. So they need to be respectful of the local customs and the tribes that are in the area. And I would say 99% of them are active with the local tribes, and they can actually tell them what is a traditional garb that would not be insensitive to a belief. So, and that's something that needs to be worked out. Scouts are courteous and kind. Okay. We don't want to go in and stomp on somebody's traditions, their faith and their belief, because we are reverent in scouting. So always keep that in mind. But definitely work with the local tribes that are in your area that are associated with your lodge. That always helps. As far as getting the materials, Tandy leather was the thing of the day, but there's different suppliers. I'm sure that a quick search on the internet could give you maybe 20 different places to buy whatever you need as far as regalia. So, but it's amazing the different types of regalia that are out there. And check again with your tribe. That's the big thing, because what's appropriate for the Seminoles and Seminole tribes is not appropriate with the Hopi. So, it has to be sensitive to those areas. So definitely check.
All right. I'll just mention, please give the program a thumbs up if you haven't already. And we have a comment from Hillary in reference to recruiting. His comments are, have a fun program that friends of our current scouts will want to be part of. Exactly. Excellent. Beyond that, be visible. No one can see you meeting in a room indoors. Be visible. That's great advice.
Yes. And there's so many events that the scouts can be involved in your community, whether it be a parade or you name it. There's so much going on every single month. And that's the thing. You need to have that constant flow of here we are. Here's the fun we're having. Here's how we're giving back to the community. This is big. This is huge, and you should be a part of it. That's the big key. If you can do that and make parents see that, they want this. They want scouting values. They want these things. So put it out there. Make it fun. Show them the rockets that you're gonna, those Estes rockets that they shoot off, and those are fun. They have so much fun with that stuff, and all the different activities they do. I know of Cub Scout packs that go off to these. What is it? It's a jump place. The whole floor is a trampoline. The whole thing. So they're just bouncing off the ground and just flying in the air and having the time of their lives. That's the kind of fun thing we do in scouting. I know of some, I think it's a Gila. It's here in Orlando, where they can go and do climbing, wall climbing indoors where it's air conditioned. It's not 6 million degrees and equal amount in humidity. That is something they can do, and they can climb. These are fun things, and put it out there. Put it out there. They should be doing this. They should be doing the activities at school. For instance, the school's having a meeting. Who's presenting the flags? That should be your Cub Scouts. They don't have to be members of that school. Okay. Who is doing the school board meeting? Pledge of Allegiance. These are things they can do. Get in your community. Get out there. They want to see these Cub Scouts and Scouts in uniform doing things for the community. You're going to have a trash pickup in a park. Make sure that somebody's in uniform. That somebody has a little envelope in their car with an application and where to go online and welcome to the pack, all these information. So important. Hillary, I tell you, he comes up with the best questions. I tell you, best comments and questions.
Okay, Timothy has a comment that when Arrow of Light Scouts transition to the troop, very often the den leader will transition with the Scouts into the troop.
Yes, that's a great idea. Yep, and take the whole family, mom, dad, and everybody should all go into the troop. And that's a wonderful thing. And they don't have to all be assistant scoutmasters. They could easily be in the committee. They can be in quartermaster materials. There's a lot of different things that need to be done in the background.
Okay. Andrew S. says, thank you very much. I believe it was Andrew that had questions about recruiting, and they have a committee meeting this week, and Andrew will suggest what we said here. Okay.
Definitely. Year round, all year, all the time. Recruit. Sound like a record.
Recruiting is very important. Okay, Hillary has another comment on driving. Typically, driving to and from the troop meeting is okay because it is considered before and after the event. But driving to and from a camp out, on the other hand, is generally considered part of the event. Makes sense to me. Yeah. Makes sense to me. Again, I'd say refer to the guide to safe scouting, which I'm thinking very likely Hillary has.
That's probably where he got it. So yeah, but I'm thinking, the individual is driving there, and the minute they step out of the car, they're in scouting. Think of it that way. Insurance wise, I'm sure that's the way it works, but it depends on the rules. And guide to safe scouting. There's 3 things that everybody should have on their phone. That's Scout Book, okay? Guide to Safe Scouting, which is a PDF. You can download it from the Boy Scouts of America on their website, Scouts of America. And, of course, the Guide to Advancement. Those are 3 things that should be on every leader's phone.
All right, Timothy. If the den leader is staying with the pack, they can generally help out with completing Weeblo's Den programs and other things. Okay, good comment. Thank you.
Yes.
And okay, this one I'm generally not putting up when someone says what policy is or is not, but I guess I'll put this one up because they're referencing page 57 of the Guide to Safe Scouting.
There you go.
Nicole is saying age 5 others to scouting offense is 18. And since it comes with a reference, where it comes from, I will put it up.
There you go. That's awesome.
And Ben, Camp Wilderness is for the win. I must say Camp Wilderness is an awesome place, having been there the last 2 summers.
That's awesome.
Okay, Ryan is just joining the program. Welcome, Ryan.
Joining scouting or joining the live meeting?
I think the live meeting.
Okay, good. Ryan, welcome aboard. I tell you, he's been here many times. I'm just joking.
Yes. JB Gamers is said he's been to Butler, but hasn't gone to Wilderness this year. Yes. Butler is the Cub Scout camp right next to Camp Wilderness, and Camp Wilderness is the Scouts BSA camp.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm just kind of reading through a couple here.
Well, I just noticed
some of the discussion I'm not going to put up, but
I just noticed that there was a 5 memberships given out. Did you see that? Yeah, super. That's awesome.
From Relantel? Okay, thank you, Relantel.
Awesome. Thank you so much. People that get on the waiting list, there's a waiting list for that, to get that membership, to try out the membership thing. And it's so important that you try it out and participate in some of the stuff on the channel. It is so great when the people can do that, when they can donate and put that out there and help others experience that channel. This is just another resource to help out. We just had this discussion about driving a camp. So, this, you may not have that. You might be a Cub Scout leader. You won't have that question, but you will eventually. So, especially if you cross over to a troop. So you will have those questions. Okay,
I'm just trying to refine since the memberships are a different tab here on my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Hillary had another comment. Some units are stricter with driving than the law or the national policy and must at least meet the law and the national policy rules as a floor.
So true. That's true. You do have to stay within your group, that if they have additional rules, you have to follow those too. But precedence does follow with Guide to Safe Scouting. If you're doing it according to Guide to Safe Scouting, you don't have a problem. That's a very safe resource to use. Use that as your primary. Of course, law, the state laws have to be considered. And then, of course, whatever your rules are within your group, staying within their policies, they could have bylaws put on by the chartered organization that says that they can't or they can. So that might be something additional that you have to check into. So those are some of the things. And all of the units in America, all of the units, they're chartered through an organization. That organization could set rules that could actually affect that rule, or be in addition to that rule. So that's something they have to consider.
Okay, Nimrod Diaries comments that another way to get visibility is flag presentations at local government meetings. Love that. And also public events, parades, county fairs, that kind of thing is a great way to be seen.
Yep. That is a wonderful thing. We need to be out there. There's a population of America that think that scouting is gone, has been gone for years. So, and we know that's not true. We need to dispel that and let them see the youth that are involved in scouting. There for instance, I know of 2 units that do flag retirements every month, and they do them with I believe it's it's the local chapter of, trying to remember the name of it. I think it's the
American Legion or something.
American Legion. That's it. There's the star on their logo. That particular group has one every month, and they do it in a very public area. So, and it's extremely public. So people see this happening, and they see the scouts out there honoring our flag and retiring the old flags, and being able to actually have a sense of that community and that patriotic duty of taking care of old flags, old tattered flags. That is something that scouting should do. That's just one of hundreds of activities that you can find. All the different meetings and activities and things that they can do. It'd be wonderful if you were running a meeting for something and you wanted to do a flag ceremony. Could you imagine if your pack showed up and helped out at a flag presentation? That would just be phenomenal. And everybody there would be like, oh, Cub Scouts. Oh, I remember Cub Scouts. I remember when I was involved in that. I know when little Billy was in that. It just generates that feeling, that patriotism starts building. You can do that. And that is your best advertisement you could do, is get out there and spark those memories and get people involved. So important. Did I see another one?
All right. We have Hi, ScouterStan. I did my Scoutmaster conference tonight for first class, and I got a lot out of it. Well, congratulations, Goose.
Very good. Very, very good. That is awesome. I tell you, that's first class, right? First class. That's awesome. I tell you, that is very important. There was another one. Member for 13?
Relantel, who's been a member for 13 months. Thank you for all you do.
That's awesome.
And I think I got out of order here. Let me find back where I was because I flipped to the other tab.
Well, it's fun because I've seen these names I see every single month. That is awesome. That is very good. Thank you so much for joining in and joining in the conversation. That's great. A lot of times the intro and the exits are kind of long, and I don't cut those off later, because if I touch the video in any way, shape, or form, all the chat goes away, gets disconnected. So what you see is live, real live. And I leave it that way so that the chat stays attached.
We have a question from Ryan. How would you have a talk with an underperforming Cub Master or Scoutmaster? I think later on in the chat, there was a suggestion to involve your commissioner.
That's a great thing to bring your commissioner in with. The commissioner is it's the glue that glues the unit to the district. So they are the go-between. And the district, of course, is attached to the council. So it's that outside the loop commissioner that can kind of come in with a third party point of view. And that's very important when you're trying to mentor a Cub Master or a den leader or a troop scout master or something like that. When you're trying to mentor them to do a better job and to really go by the training that they've taken and to do all those things, it's good to have that independent ear there. That's critical. These are things that come up all the time. That is something that unit commissioners have been trained to help with, is to help people do better and help the troop, the pack, the crew grow. That's kind of their goal, is to make sure that they're there to make sure that the unit succeeds. That is their overriding goal, is to help the unit. And it might be just simple goal setting. That could be very simple. Getting your training done, getting your all the things that you need to do the job. That might be very simple to set up, and then just follow up and mentor that leader to achieve even better. So, and that's a good thing. You want that. You want that from your unit commissioner. You want them to be that resource. Mike, it's almost what is it? 1:30 almost. 100 and yeah, it's an hour and 30 something, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Stan, I think in one of your previous videos you commented that Scouting America has a complaint form. It's called the adult application.
Yes. Yes, it is.
I recently told our district executive that, and he couldn't stop laughing for quite some time. He thought that was just a perfect thought. So,
well, I've always thought that was funny. That actually happened. That was a real life experience. I had a parent that, she was kind of negative, and she would always see problems that weren't really there. And she was always on the poor people in this troop. She was always constantly critiquing advancement. And it got to the point where they were driving them crazy. So I said, okay, get me involved. So I got in there, and she started going off, and I said, well, we have a complaint form. Oh, I want to fill that out. And I says, here it is. And she started filling it out. And then she realized what it was.
okay.
So yeah. And she got the point like that. The light went on. And I says, there are no problems when you are the solution. Think about it. And she joined. She had to at that point. That was it. She had to join because she had all these ideas of how to do this, and this should be done that way. We put her in charge of it. It was a breath of fresh air. They needed help. So, and this was an easy way, a fun way of doing it. But she didn't even look at the cover of it. She just flipped it open and started putting her name in there. It was so fun. It's a complaint form.
All right. Well, we have Leonhard from joining us from Australia.
Awesome.
It's probably so late that it's almost early.
It's true. It is. Oh my gosh. I have no idea what time's on that. That's on the other. They're already in tomorrow. Aren't they on the other line, on the other side of the line? So
yeah, it's early tomorrow morning there. Okay. Ryan said they have a few is it leaders that have no youth of their own, or if I understand it's a few leaders that have been absent more than they have been present. And when they're there, they come late or they're not actively participating. Okay.
Well, just like the youth, they have to have a reason. They have to have a reason to go to the meeting. They have to be needed. And you will find that when you have this kind of a warning sign for unit commissioners out there, it's a warning sign for unit commissioners when you have this spotty participation, is that you'll find there's one person in that unit that's trying to do everything. Okay. They're not delegating. And if you delegate some tasks out to those leaders that have that spotty commitment, you'll find that they will actually be more regular. They have a reason to go to the meeting. Okay. They're not just going to stand in the back and, listen to what's going on. They're actually going to meet with the youth that are in charge of quartermaster, or they're the chaplain, and they're going to meet with their chaplain aide, and they actually have a reason to be there. That's the key, especially with troops. You'll find that troops, you'll have some adults that try to run everything, and they can't, and they do, and they have real problems. But they have a lot of people waiting to take on responsibility. So definitely delegate. Management skills can be learned at any age for any position. So this is something that a lot of adult leaders need to understand. They may come into it and they may never have had leadership skills taught to them. And that's something that scouting does for the youth, but the leaders also learn. So it's a two-edged thing, and keep that in mind. Leadership skills are great. Make sure that once you get them involved, once they buy in, and once they're really moving along with the program, that's a perfect person to send off to Wood Badge, and that's leadership training, big time. It is really huge. And going through that Wood Badge process, the classes and the ticket and so on, that is critical to making an incredible leader. And once you have that, keep those responsibilities building and keep those delegated tasks moved forward for the scout and the scouter.
All right, so we have a question from Goose, our newly minted first class, asking about what is the gold lining on the pocket flap on your uniform, Stan?
The gold lining on my pocket flap. Oh, on my Tipasaw. The gold lining that you see on there is not on most flaps. The gold lining that I got there is Bring a Brother Back. It was a promotion, and I like it. I think it makes the patch really pop. But it was to bring a brother, former brother of the Order of the Arrow, back to the lodge, some activity, some meeting, something like that. I was able to get my former, back when I was advisor, I was able to get one of my former chapter chiefs to come out and pay his dues. And he was awarded the little shiny gold brim on there, and I got one too. So there's a silhouetted, I think it's right here. It's right over the W on the end. It says BBB. I don't know. I'll put a picture up on our channel. So.
All right, and I think Hillary kind of echoed about what you said in response to the how to have a conversation with the Cub Master, Scoutmaster that's underperforming, as I said. Hillary's saying that this is a great conversation to involve your district commissioner or council commissioner. And you can, if you have a unit commissioner, they can help you find your district or council commissioner. I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of units that don't have a unit commissioner.
That's true. Well, let's put it this way. All units have a unit commissioner. Now, that being said, the reason that I know that to be the fact is in order to be chartered, you have to have a signature from somebody that's a unit commissioner on the charter. That's required for the unit. A lot of times, that person that's put on there is usually a district person, because we have a tremendous shortage of unit commissioners. We are really in need in scouting of unit commissioners. Units outnumber unit commissioners almost 10-1. It is amazing how many units have one on their record, but have never seen one. And because of the shortage that we have in unit commissioners, they are dedicated towards units that are struggling. They're showing signs of having severe problems. And those commissioners, those rare commissioners, are moved over to the problem units that are going to have, they're struggling and they need assistance. So you have to your management resources need to be moved back and forth within your district. And that should not be. We need more unit commissioners. If we can get a unit commissioner to be active and part of a unit, it is guaranteed that that unit is going to resolve its issues and definitely succeed, versus a unit that doesn't have one or know who it is, that's active with the unit. Now, there's two trains of thoughts, and I brought this up in several episodes on the channel. You can actually grow your own unit commissioner. Your unit can do that. You can actually find a previous scoutmaster or committee chairman that could easily transition into that unit's as a unit commissioner. It's homegrown. I call that homegrown commissioners. I got the idea through I was on a national conference thing, and they were talking about, is that possible? And they basically said it was. It's just a matter of them. They're not leaving the unit. They stay with the unit. But then once they're trained, they might get another unit that they kind of foster and help and mentor. So that's the kind of thing with the unit commissioner. That's one way of doing it. The second way is just literally, okay, we've got the cub master, we got the committee chair, we got this, we got that. We're going to need a unit commissioner. And literally when at the start of the beginning of that unit, they have an adult that wants to do the unit commissioner. It does not require many years of experience in scouting. This is all trainable. In fact, sometimes I've often had the other issue. They're so ingrained with old school that it's hard to break those habits. So I need people with a clean slate that are willing to learn, go through that training, and become a unit commissioner. It sounds like a big, huge thing. It is critical. It is the glue. It's the glue that holds a unit to the district. Without it, they're just free floating. They're kind of they're not attached. They're not part of the council and the district and how that all works. It's tragic. We need more unit commissioners. And if you are wondering how you can help in scouting, and you've either been in Cub Scouts or in, whatever, you want to help out, unit commissioners where you need to be. That's my soapbox. I'm constantly saying we need more, and we do. Their units outnumber us, so we need more unit commissioners.
All right,
Mike, are you a unit commissioner?
I am not a unit commissioner. I think I've basically done all the training, and
okay.
I think there's complexities. Maybe I might be willing to, but yes, there's many things that are complex. So
I might just recruit you.
Well, we can discuss.
I never stop recruiting. So.
Okay, so changing the subject, we have a question from Brandon. There are a few places to order Mikose attire, and also you can just make it. And Brandon is saying that his mother sometimes makes ribbon shirts and own leggings and such.
Yeah. Well,
And
ribbon jackets are big. So the ribbon jackets that you see for a lot of the Seminoles, those ribbon jackets are absolutely beautiful. Some of them are gorgeous. They have all the different colors, and the teepee is a big thing with the Tipasaw Lodge. We have the red teepee. It's actually on the logo. It's in the dead center of the logo. And this red teepee is very simple in its design, and it lends itself to ribbons. So you could actually build it. It's very geometrical. Anyways, it can actually be a nice design on some of that regalia. So, and the reason we refer to it as regalia is it's a respectful term. Costume makes it sound not appropriate. And so we don't use costume. We actually call it a regalia. It's because we are doing it in honor of. And it's so critical that you check with your local tribes so that you don't accidentally mess it up, so that you're doing something that's very inappropriate towards their beliefs. So you definitely want to check with them. And Mikuse is part of there is a Mikuse. I can never say it right, but that particular one I believe is in the Midwest, and it's with Heartland Council. I think that's the area. And Mikuse, I've done a video on it, and it's fascinating. I found it fascinating, but it is not the traditional Order of the Arrow type of thing. So they are separate. But the Order of the Arrow is the National Honor Society of Scouting America. So always have that in mind. And Mikusei is through that council. So, that's kind of the two different ones that are out there. It's not like you can be in a different part of the country that doesn't have a chapter of that and start it up. It's not in competition or anything. So it's separate.
And, I would add just about anyone can learn how to use a sewing machine.
Yes. Most sewing machines will thread themselves. I was amazed. I saw that. My wife put it on the machine and hit a button and it threaded the needle and everything. Wow.
All right. My mother gave me a sewing machine as a gift when I graduated high school, and it's
there you go.
Actually sitting on the floor right next to me right now. But
I sew on my
still works.
My patches and stuff. Some of them are not straight.
A hint that I've heard for sewing on patches or merit badges is start out with a hot glue gun, put a little dab of hot glue on it just to hold it where you want it. Then you can sew it in place.
That's a good idea. But if it's a temporary patch, a lot of times the hot glue might stain the cloth. That might change the cloth. But if you put another patch over it, doesn't matter. It's a lot like merit badges. With merit badges, those things are so small and they're full embroidered, so they're hard to get a needle through. So if you're hand sewing those, that's hard. That's really hard. So I recommend just gluing them on. You don't wash the sash, so just glue them on. Make sure you get them in the right way, but hot glue works. You can just. I've seen scouts staple their stuff on.
Well, it was just use hot glue to hold it very temporarily during the sewing process, so that it ends up straight.
Yeah, and it just crumbles apart underneath the bag.
Yeah, exactly. It just kind of goes away.
And
also, I found for patches, clear thread can be great. Also.
Yeah. Especially if you got different ones, like you're doing a camp blanket or something. Man, do I have a bunch of patches for a camp blanket.
All right.
I got comment.
Comment from Hillary: the Scoutmaster and Cubmaster serve at the pleasure of the chartered organization and can be replaced if they're not doing their jobs.
So true. That is true. And it is rare for a COR, the chartered organization representative, that's the person who owns the unit. It is rare for them to eliminate somebody of their job. It's a volunteer job, but it's rare, and they are responsible for that. And if they're having an issue with that, they need to be with their unit commissioner or district commissioner and talk about it's one thing to remove the scoutmaster, but what are you going to do? You need a scoutmaster to have a unit. These scouts are relying on that for merit badges and everything else, conferences and so on. So there has to be somebody else that can fill that space. And a lot of times it's very rare for a chartered organization rep to just randomly eliminate somebody's job within the unit. But they do have the authority, and because it's their unit. That's really the authority. But getting the unit, it shouldn't get to that point. You can see the warning signs. That's when you need your unit commissioner to step up and start mentoring, setting goals, and get things done. So prevent the problem.
All right. Relantal says that we recently discovered an 18 to 20-year-old who is registered as an adult in Scouts BSA also needs to fill out an application to register as a venturing or Sea Scout participant, because venturing has no role for an 18 to 20-year-old other than a participant. Okay.
Wow. Well, I guess it's just a matter of asking questions about that. I mean, if there's a 3-year gray period from Order of the Arrow standpoint, a lot of 18-year-olds will join a crew, a venture crew, and they will continue participating within the Order of the Arrow as a youth until they're 21. After they're 21, they no longer can vote as a youth. They no longer can participate as a youth. They have to be in that area. So that a lot of times they call it 18 plus. I think that's the term that they're using now. There's that 3-year grace period, gray area for policies and procedures. I'm fine with the way it is, but if there was a big change, I think it would lower the youth down to all 18. So the crew would drop down to 18 as being youth, anything over 18 being adult. If anything, that would be the direction it would go. So I think they're happy with the way it is. So as far as crews and Sea Scouts and so on, I think they're happy with that 3-year grace period. But it's to keep them involved. And I constantly get into discussions with the advisor for our chapter about that 18 plus kind of thing. That is something that's very unusual. And there was a time period where junior scout masters had to be under 18. There's a push to move them beyond that. And honestly, if you're over 18, you should be an assistant scoutmaster. Don't have different rules for different ages. Just have one rule that fits all. That I think that's more appropriate, more kind, more respectful for all of it. But definitely the 3-year gray period is iffy, and I don't recommend intentionally using that as a way to stay involved in the OA. In a way that's kind of deceptive, and that's not the scouting way. So
I think they were talking about venturing and
yeah,
Sea Scout.
venturing crew, right?
All right.
You want to stay away from being perceived as not trustworthy.
All right. Well, looks like Hillary is going to be tuning into the Olympics to catch up on all the results. So good night, Hillary.
All right, Hillary. He always comes up with the greatest comments. He's wonderful. I love him. I'm on the show. That'd be great.
And Relantel, I think, about
another one.
Talked about the 18 to 21-year-old kind of gray period or grace period. Not sure which one you said.
Yeah.
The council registrar has to make the multiple unit registration and switch the primary to venturing or Sea Scouts. Right. And they will not be charged any extra for the additional registration.
Right. That's one of the things that a lot of people, I talked about it on the membership episode when I talked about Scout membership. You get a national membership fee. That's the annual every year fee. And then there's a fee for your council. And then there's a fee usually for your unit. Units have different fees depending on their activities. So that's true for everything. Cub Scouts all the way through to Sea Scouts. I mean, it's got it all. Your national membership stays the same no matter what you're in. If you're in Cub Scouts and you move over to troop, their national membership is still there. So that's the key thing to remember. So the only things that would change are activity fees from the unit, or there may be something from the district, but that's usually handled at the same time. Not the district, the council, from the council level, that's handled at the same time as the national. So you can have somebody that's in the troop and also in the crew. That's one membership. They're in 2 units, but they're in one membership. So it gets a little confusing, but typically you have one membership that's every year. You renew it on your own. It used to be on a chartered system, and it will be for a little while. Within 8 or 10 years, that all the people on that system will have moved on, and most of them, and it will just be an annual thing. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. We have T. Gandred says, hi, Mike. Well, hello to you too. Relanto, on the bright side is the adult. CBC is already done and doesn't need to be redone.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Did the training and everything. Yep.
And yes, Austria, not Australia. Yes, I believe I said Austria. That was certainly my intention to say Austria.
Okay.
But, yep. Greetings. I've been to Austria. I've not been to Australia.
Yeah, they're in different places.
Very much. CPS Way, is there an additional time period to expect an adult volunteer to stay with the pack after their own scout has gone to the troop? Or the child leaving scouting it is maybe a different story.
Well, there's different stories. A lot of times when the arrow of light crosses the bridge, the parents also cross the bridge to the troop. So that usually that does happen. So keep that in mind. There may not if you have 3 kids, they're not all at the same level. Though some of them might be arrow of light, some of them are Weeblos, and some of them are bears. So you might have a parent that'll cross over into the troop, but the other parent stays with the pack. So to kind of help that system along. Then of course, that other parent that went over to the troop could easily still be involved with the pack. It's all up to the individuals, and really look at the needs of the unit. If the pack is struggling and they cannot handle the vacancy, you need to be there. You need to recruit somebody. You need to get them trained. Okay. But if the troop is struggling, and now that your youth is in there, you want to be in there too. So I've had moms and dads kind of straddle between the two for a few years because of multiple kids. So that does happen. And because of that, you have to stay within that guideline. It's totally fine. I mean, there could be a situation where, grandpa's already in the troop that they crossed over to. They might stay with the pack just to help out. They might even go behind the stage. It might be committee chair next. So there's a lot of different things, you could do. But there's nothing expected. We're not going to say, oh, you gotta have a kid in the pack. You gotta have this in the pack. That's really up to your charter org. They could have those rules.
All right. Robert is commenting wood badge. Yay, wood badge. Okay.
It's a good thing having a wood badge. I love it. They tell me there's going to be a beating at Roundtable tonight. So, and I'm all up for that. Let's see that beating. Oh,
how late is Roundtable for you?
No, I'm talking about the announcement. The announcement was there's going to be a beating it was a really low attended. I wonder why. So
okay. Need to be very precise in pronouncing 2 different words. Okay. CPS Way comments, by the time that an adult leader or committee member is found and trained up, their kid is crossing into the troop almost immediately. I can understand that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It does. It happens quick. So that's for sure.
Okay, Goose assumed it was a lifetime membership. Not sure what that was in lifetime membership in what? I'm not sure.
If it was Order of the Arrow, yes. Once you're in the Order of the Arrow, it's lifetime. Okay. I think we talked about it early on, about an hour and 50 minutes ago.
All right. T. Gandrew, Stan, how do you make your thumbnails for your videos?
Oh, I use old school stuff. I use Photoshop, I think. Photoshop 6. Okay. So I'm an old school web developer that does the layers and all that stuff. And, so hopefully that's a question on the good side.
I'm sure it was intended in a positive way. Yes.
Okay. Like, who made that?
No, I know who that is. So, Relantel, experienced Cub level scouters make great unit commissioners or roundtable commissioners.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not just unit commissioners. They could be roundtable. That's another big one. So, yeah. I've talked with people who don't have regular roundtables. I was shocked. I thought it was every month. I didn't know that there's some councils out there, some districts out there that don't do roundtable. It's stunning. I'm stunned by that.
Yeah, our council doesn't do them during the summer. So,
Mm-hmm.
Ryan comments their council has 11 commissioners for 112 units.
Wow. See, they outnumber us.
1.
Wow. That is, and it's, there's no reason to. We could definitely change that. Unit commissioners, it's not that they're experts. They're there to help. They're there to learn and to mentor and to set goals and help people to make a better unit, make it work. And that's the wonderful thing about being a unit commissioner. I've been doing it for a very long time. So unit commissioning is it's not hard. Okay. That just about every issue that I've ever come up with has ended up as a episode here on the channel. So it's something that a lot of people can do. I'm not an expert in scouting. I've been in it for long enough to answer questions to the point where I say, read the Guide to Safe Scouting.
All right. Nicole is asking, what exactly do unit commissioners do? Will they fill in if there's a shortage, such as a den leader, or are they more committee helpers? Okay.
In extreme cases, yeah, they could. They could actually jump in. I remember a cub master who had a huge problem. He was a reservist, and he was called up, and he had to go into active duty, and being a reservist. So I said, okay, I'm going to do one cub or pack meeting. I'll do one. All right. And it was a year after I had left being in a pack, and I did one, and it was great. And during that meeting, I had den leaders come up and say, "Oh, it's you make it look so easy. Just do it." I'm like, "Well, yeah. Here's the program guide. Do it." And from there on, we had guests that would come in, and eventually we had one that did such a phenomenal job. She was great, and she ended up taking over that position. So that when that cub master came back, they became assistant and cub master, and they switched on and off, and it was great. It was great. That unit did very well. They went from like 16 Cub Scouts to well over 40 within a month. It was amazing. So you can't let it fail. You can't let it crash and burn. That's the first thing. We need to be the example. We need to be the example to help these young people learn from that example, see what can be done, who can jump in there and save the day. That's the thing. We need to have that. We need to have that ready, and we need to be ready for that. Crash and burn happens occasionally. That's okay. That's life. But we need to be that example. Okay, not the exception, the example of what to do when things do go bad. And believe me, I've had some bad cub meetings. Okay, I had some pack meetings that went off the rails. Okay, so where we were singing a song and nobody knew the tune. It was a bad pack meeting. But hey, it's Cub Scouts, highly organized chaos. That's what it is.
Okay, so Brandon asked a question. Hey, Stan, what is your take on College of Commissioner science for non-commissioners? So I think the question is, if you're not already a commissioner, can you take the commissioner classes at University of Scouting or something like that?
You could, but the point of taking those is to be a unit commissioner. It would be like, I don't know, AI taking first aid courses. So
I think it's a question. Do you become a commissioner, then take the training, or take the training and then become the commissioner is how
Yeah. It's either way, really. There's no experience required for a unit commissioner. There's no experience. We train. There's training that's done online, and they do it in live too, depending on your district. That's something that you can do. You can actually get that training, and that's the training, the core, and then everything else just comes through as your management style, your skills and stuff, and that comes through. It just comes through. So, and like I said earlier, sometimes that's best because you want to break some of those bad habits of those old timies. Those old timers, they got some bad habits. So you got to stop. You can't do that. So,
all right.
You need the new guys in there.
Okay, so Ryan comments the Heart of America Council and Pony Express Council are the two for Mikkosay. Both are in Missouri.
Missouri. Nice. Fantastic.
Aaron asks, can a lodge advisor tell you that you can't have a dual membership? I think you can have. Well, okay, lodge is Order of the Arrow, and then Scouts BSA, right. So of course you would be in both.
Yeah. I don't think that they have the authority on a membership. I don't think they have that authority. In the Order of the Arrow, they say you have to be a registered scout or scouter. I think that's the term they use, and that's it. They don't have the authority to say yes or no on that. So, it's multiple memberships and stuff. It all depends on what you want. You can't be 19 years old and be in a troop as a youth. You see what I'm getting at there? You can be 19 years old and be a member of a crew, see, and then also be a youth. So it's that 3-year gray area. Okay. And the more people dig into that, the worse it'll be. I'm telling you right now, they're going to move it all back to 18, and that'll be the dividing line for all scouting. Okay. So if you like that 3-year grace period, don't keep poking the beehive. All right. So just let it be the way it is. Okay. If you like that. So.
Okay. Brandon said it's the Heart of America Council, typically found at H. Robartle Scout Reservation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That was an organization started by him almost, I think it was in the same year. I think it was in 1915 or 1916. I'm not sure, but it might have been the same. Well, maybe not. I'll have to look at my history on that one. But Mikkosay has been around almost as long as the Order of the Arrow. So they're almost the same type of history.
Okay.
But they are different.
CPS Way suggests that we just move to hook and loop fasteners, I guess Velcro fasteners on sashes. Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, with a sash, they don't wash them. You don't wear them to paint fences and stuff like that. You wear them for, courts of honor, that kind of thing. So gluing them on is fine. I don't have any problem with that. And gluing stuff on the back, as long as it's scout appropriate, I don't have a problem. You could put your snorkeling thing on there and your mile swim patch and all those kinds of things can go on the back. I had a scout that got every single merit badge, 138, I think it was. And he had 2 sashes sewed side by side. So it was 6 across, and it was from his shoulder all the way down to the end. It was the merit badges. On the back, he had all his awards and stuff, and he just didn't have enough space. It was amazing. This kid had done every possible thing, and I wish him all the luck. Andrew is up in he's in Gainesville. I think he's going to get a doctorate in computer engineering. I think that's his field that he's looking at.
Okay, super. Shady asks, were you at NOAC this year?
Nope. I've done my NOACs. After the first one, our lodge has a tradition for they select the contingent leader, and then the contingent leader from the year before goes with them and shows them the rope and trains them on how to do that. So as the leader, then the following year, that particular contingent leader goes the next time, and they help the contingent leader learn the ropes. So it's a way of getting that forward or paying it forward kind of thing. So, but normally they do it the other way around. You do assistant and then become the thing, but they do it the opposite way. And that's been that way for years. And once you've gone to NOAC, you might go every decade or so after that. But, it is definitely worth going. It's a lot of fun. It was very limited in Colorado. They had a very strict limit on how many people could actually go. And because of that, when they do limits, if an adult grabs a spot, that's a youth that doesn't. So I usually say it's important that the youth go to at least one NOAC and one jamboree as a youth. I think that's important. And that's really why I didn't go. And but I did follow it. It was on YouTube a lot. And there was a lot of activities and a lot of different things going on at the National Order of the Arrow Convention. So,
all right, Relantel says that commissioners are the link between the district and the unit. They are a resource, and if they don't know the answer to a question, they can find out an answer for you.
Yep. Yes. There's many times I don't know everything. There's no way I could. So I've often somebody asks a question, I look it up, I find out what's going on with that, and that's the key. You don't have to be an expert in scouting in order to be a unit commissioner. You just have to be somebody that's willing to take that training, and that training talks about how they make that connection happen. That's the critical thing about unit commissioners and how that all works. So important. We need them. We need unit commissioners.
All right, Relantel comments, you can only be a paid member of one Order of the Arrow Lodge at a time. It will be the lodge for your primary council registration.
Right.
That's in the case if you're like I am, registered in two councils.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, the thing about two councils, if you have a council fee, you got to pay both. So for your membership, that's annual. So it really depends on your council. Some councils have no fees. They rely heavily on fundraising and Friends of Scouting. They do a lot of that. So it depends on your district, which district you're working with. So many times people are on that edge between two councils and that district. So it can happen. Depends on what you're participating in. There are some councils that have more than one lodge. They're that big. Some are really big, and they'll have two camps, and each camp will have its own lodge. So that does happen.
Okay. Another comment from Relantel. When ventures turn 18, you still need a paper application for the conversion to a venturing participant. Okay.
Yep. Yes, you do. The reason for that is that once you're over 18 in Scouts BSA, there's a background check for the adult application. So if you're going to participate in a troop, in addition to a crew, you have to participate in one as an adult and one as a crew youth member. It's involved.
Okay. Brandon comments, the issues with the 18 to 20 or 21 is a gray period, not an adult, but not a scout. Okay. They must follow the adult rules, but cannot be considered an adult. Okay. It's
Right.
kind of. Relantel, most districts don't have enough commissioners. They don't have the luxury to turn away anyone that is even slightly interested in unit service.
It's true. And it's important service. We need unit, and you're not at every meeting. Okay. You might be at one meeting, and a lot of units are doing just fine. Okay. Every unit should have a unit commissioner visit at least once, maybe twice a month. That is something they should do. They have evaluations that they have to do for the district to be involved in for instance, a committee comes up with a budget. That's something that the unit commissioner wants to know. They want to know those types of figures so that they can figure that in and see if there's an issue or a problem they can help with. So there's a lot of stuff that happens in the background. And with a unit commissioner, you're just there to check in and ask, what's the issue? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? Greeting the new leaders, greeting the new people that just joined every month. Okay. Because we need to keep recruiting, right? So that's the key. Unit commissioners are so important, so vital to the success of any unit. Can't get any better than that.
Okay, Brandon comments, the commissioner science training is hard to get, or I think hard to complete the training. So just, hey, register for the training and jump in and get involved, it sounds like. Okay.
Now, the commissioner science is outside of the basic training that goes on. It's like Wood Badge for Scoutmasters. Okay. Scoutmasters have their basic training that they do online, and they might even have in-person training in some councils in some districts. That being said, the unit commissioners can definitely be involved in their basic training. That's something that's required. Then they can move on to the university, the commissioners university, where they have different levels. They got masters and doctorates and so on. They have different levels of education. And I've actually done some videos for the local district. No, it was council. I did that for council for the university. So to help out with different things, year-round recruitment and so on. So that was something that I've done in the past. I don't believe the videos are online. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to look into that one.
Okay. Happy HB. Just join the broadcast. All right. Well, I think we're close to wrapping up, but better late than never.
Better late than never. That's for sure. I tell you, it is amazing how many people, because there's a number on my screen. It tells me how many are online and watching and enjoying the stuff and participating. And I am so absolutely stunned and blessed to have all of you scouters out there getting involved. And definitely, if you have a question, please feed it in there. We're going to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes. Okay. But we'll definitely, I am so blessed. I think this is great. And if I've inspired you to become a unit commissioner, please think about it. Think about it. Okay. We need you. We're in a desperate situation.
Right. Relan, tell us another question here. To get a degree in commissioner science requires registration as a commissioner, but they will allow anyone with interest to take that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And they're going to heavily recruit you. Do you want credit for this course? You got to fill out this form. As we talked about the complaint form. So,
all All right. Well, I think we have Nicole just said she just came back in after a computer crash. So
Oh no!
welcome back to the broadcast. Okay, so that's all we have for questions.
Blue screen to death. Well, I am so grateful, Mike. You are the best voice from beyond.
I'm just a voice without a face.
There you go. We both have a face for radio, right? Isn't that what we said?
And you know, okay, so Stan is watching video of me. I don't need to be on video, but he's watching video of me just in case I need to wave.
It's okay. He's fine. But I tell you, I couldn't do this without him. You know, Mike is one of these great volunteers that comes along and helps me out, helps us out for this challenge. And this is something else. We've been going for 2 hours plus, and question after question. This is just wonderful. Yeah. And Mike, thank you so much for all that you do in our channel and everything here. This is great. And then everybody that's right now, we have 16 that are still hanging on. So, hang in there. Oh, what up? Hang on.
All right. Well, thanks to everyone that joined us. And
yes, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. And we will definitely see you next time. Again, we'll see you on the trail.